computer, and then we're going to try and go live on Facebook as well. So just give us a minute. I think it's happening. I'm not sure. Do we see anything happening on Facebook? Ah, there we go. Something's happening. Continue.
Okay, I don't see anything on Facebook yet, but I'm sure sometimes it's a bit delayed.
Yeah. Well, I've hit the go live button, so we should be seeing something.
Got it. All right, good to go.
Okay. All right. So I'm just going to read my little speech out. Just do that though, so I can see the screen as well. Okay, well, hello everyone. Welcome to the launch of Hate Story by Jeff Cottrill. I'm Lisa. I'm the director of Dragonfly Publishing. We're the publisher for the book. And also on this Zoom launch is Rebecca Sheedy, who is our project manager. So give her a warm welcome. So thank you for joining us for this very special event. Before we begin, just a few housekeeping items. This event is being recorded and will be used for promotion purposes. So if you do not wish to be seen or heard, please mute your audio and video accordingly. There will be a Q&A session later with Jeff. So if you have any burning questions, pop them in the comments. Otherwise, we'll open up the floor for questions when it's that part of the programme. To avoid any Zoom bombing, we have disabled screen sharing for participants, and anyone that we suspect is Zoom bombing will be ejected unceremoniously as well. Keep your language fairly tasteful, although if you've read the book, you'll know that tasteful has, quite wide connotations. Okay, so before we carry on with the programme, let me just say a few words about Jeff. So Jeff first appeared on my radar when my good friend Skylar mentioned she had a friend in Canada who'd written a book and would I be interested in taking a look. So she sent me his manuscript and I saved it away, intending to read it over the weekend, and curiosity got the better of me. And even though I was supposed to be working, one afternoon I decided to start reading it. And I couldn't stop. So that quick look turned into most of my afternoon disappearing as I became engrossed in this story of what happened to Paul Shoreditch. By the end of the first chapter, I knew it was a very special novel. It was fresh, innovative, and a much needed punch in the gut for everyone, including me, about the delights of social media and the internet. And so I offered Jeff a contract and he accepted, and the rest, they say, is history. So just a bit about Jeff. Who is Jeff? Well, you all know him, so I don't really need to go into too much detail about who Jeff is. But as you know, he's a fiction writer, poet, journalist, spoken word artist from Toronto. Lots of credits to his name, does a lot of online Zooming across the globe. And now he's a published author. So let's give it up for Jeff being a published author. He's featured in several poetry podcasts, and his poem, This Is Not Real Poetry, which I think is just the best name for a poem, is currently nominated for a pushcart. In 2015, he was nominated for a Kenneth R. Wilson Memorial Award for his OHS Canada article, Off the Rails, and he holds various degrees and certificates in creative writing from Toronto University and other places, blah, 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 as we all know. But I think the most important thing to know about Jeff is he obviously likes writing, movies, travels, and puppies. And I think that's the most important thing to know. I think we can all agree on that. Anyway, today's event is filled with some absolutely amazing spoken word performances, some readings from Jeff, a musical interview, a movie quiz to win a copy of the book, and a Q&A session. So sit back, relax, and let's get on with it. And so without further ado, here's the man of this ungodly hour in Australia, Mr. Jeff Cottrill.
Thank you, Lisa. As you've seen through the video, Lisa and her team at Dragonfly Publishing, they've been very creative and enthusiastic about their promotion of the novel. So I'm really, really excited to be working with them. Now, before we get to my reading, I'm going to introduce Heather Babcock, who is a local novelist and poet, has a novel called Filthy Sugar, and she's going to introduce me, and she's going to read a bit. She's going to be the first of the guest readers. She's going to read a bit from her book, I believe, and she's wonderful to know and wonderful to be friends with and to read her writing. So I'd like you to give it up right now for Heather Babcock.
So I am so excited to be here, and I'm really excited for Jeff. I'm lucky that I was one of the first readers of Hate Story when Jeff was beginning the writing of this wonderful book. Every week he would give me a couple of chapters to read, and I felt the same way Lisa did. I couldn't wait for the next chapter. I wanted to know what did Paul Shoreditch do for everybody to hate him so much? And I also really fell in love with Jackie, the novel's protagonist. I think it's a very rare and special thing for a male author to be able to write such a compelling and real female character. And I really related to her a lot. So yeah, when I got my copy of Hate Story, it was so exciting to see. And I thank Jeff for being able to be here. And I feel honored to have read an early draft, and I'm enjoying reading it all over again. So I know you're going to love this. It's hilarious and it's very, very timely. So as Jeff said, I also have a novel, and it's called Filthy Sugar, and my novel is set in the 1930s. There are some similarities in that both Jeff and I are big movie buffs, and there's a lot of classic and modern movie references in Hate Story. My book, Filthy Sugar, was inspired by the feisty dames of early 1930s movies. So I'll just read a very short excerpt from here. I sit in the window, drinking my whiskey and having memories about dreams. I left word with Brock at the paper this morning, but he still hasn't called on me, and I'm still broke. Luckily, I was able to pawn my earbobs. The pawnbroker could see that they were paste, but he gave me a few coins for them anyway, enough for a bottle of booze. The dark clouds have turned the city blue. The Saturday evening revelers in their rain-soaked tuxedos, velvet orchestra coats, furs, and ostrich feathers passed lightly over the wet concrete, looking as soft and hazy as a garbo close up. A lady, dainty and pretty in a wide-skirted buttercup evening gown, floats out of the merry-go-round doors of Mr. Manchester's apartment building and falls knees first into a rain puddle. A taxi driver jumps from his parked cab to help her up, but she turns away from him, stumbling forward and wrapping her skinny arms around a lamppost. Under the glow of the streetlight, the woman's familiar lemon yellow finger waves and doll-like features blossom into sharp focus. And I follow the gaze of Norma, Mr. Manchester's mistress, as she raises her tear-swollen face. Mr. Manchester's curtains are open. The blood-red sofa, alone in the center of the snow-white room, is as forbidding and menacing as the lips of an evil queen. The apartment's mirrored walls reflect the sins of the city back upon itself. The light in the window suddenly snaps shut, and Norma bows her head as she slouches into a taxicab. I shed my sweat-stained shell-pink robe and switch the overhead light on. A shadow appears in Mr. Manchester's window. Arms stretched above my head, I begin to roll my hips slowly, east and west, north and south, as I wiggle out of my panties. Mr. Manchester's light flicks back on. I pick up my fox fur coat and drape it seductively over my naked body. Turning away from the window, I pull open the middle drawer of my dresser. There, nestled between the leather-bound Bible and Mr. Manchester's stolen portrait, is the copper's gun. I slide the revolver into my coat pocket, stuff my dogs into a pair of rain boots, and head out into the turbid, promising night. Miss Whittle, that was quite the show you just gave me. Mr. Manchester's voice booms with mirthful malice as he opens his apartment door. Won't you come in? I must have a nickel around here somewhere, but oh no, that performance was worth at least a dime. Keeping my lips pursed in silence, I step into the winter white room and lock the door behind me. A foolish grin spreads across Mr. Manchester's face. Sit down, my bad girl, he says, his cheeks flushed with wine. We'll make a loving cup. I don't move from the door as Mr. Manchester, clad in peacock blue silk pajamas, toddles to the kitchen. I really should thank you, Miss Whittle, he calls out over his shoulder as he extracts a bottle from the icebox. Attendance at the Apple Bottom has gone sky high since your boyfriend's little newspaper scribblings came out. Now, my wife, on the other hand, wasn't too thrilled with your stories, he continues, pouring wine into 2 crystal glasses. But luckily for me, she's a very understanding woman. In particular, she understands how improper and distasteful a divorce would look to her high-hat family and friends. How about a toast? He asks, returning to the sitting room. He raises the wine glasses gaily. To burying the hatchet. After all, Miss Whittle, as the papers say, you're still rather fetching, and I wouldn't mind. The snow turns scarlet as the glasses tumble to the carpet. Miss Whittle! Mr. Manchester's mouth drops open like that of a dead sea trout. Come a little closer, Henry, I say. I hold the revolver out like a gangster in a Warner Brothers movie. Be a good boy now. Thank you.
Everybody unmute and give it up for Heather Babcock. Thank you, one person. I'm sure
No, there's
there
2.
Woo, 2 people unmuted and
Amazing.
great. So yeah, before I do my thing, I'm going to, thank you, put a link in the chat. So more info on Heather Babcock and Filthy Sugar, just go to that site. You can buy it. There's a link for, I believe, Canada, the U.S., the UK. Is there one for Australia too? Or
Sorry?
Australia, they can buy it in Australia too.
Oh,
right?
yes. Yeah, it's worldwide. I think you can, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, on Amazon, and inanna.ca is my publisher. They're having a 40% off sale right now if you use code IWD2022. Check out.
IWD 2022 is the code to get a discount on Filthy Sugar. Okay, and I think, let me check that schedule because I'm so professional. I always check the schedule. Okay, so it's now my turn to give that reading from Hate Story. I see Tim on my screen just like glaring at me.
Hey, Tim.
Hi, Tim.
Hello.
Okay, so now it's my turn. So I'm going to read, if I can find a page. I'm going to read chapter 1, which is actually the second chapter if you're counting the chapter 0, which is kind of a prologue pretending not to be a prologue. So there's just a couple things I'm going to point out before I read this. The Peace House fiasco refers to a funeral, a riot at a funeral that occurs in the prologue. So that's what that refers to. And there are a couple of slurs in this that I'm not going to say. I'm going to spell them out instead of saying them because I don't want anybody triggered or anything, you know. And one of them is spelt wrong on purpose anyway. The people saying these slurs are morons. So just so you know. Okay, so chapter 1 from Hate Story, technically the second. You're stupid, spelt Y-O-U-R. You're stupid, the anonymous comment reads below the blog essay. You don't know shit about movies. YTF should I listen to some retard fucking white chick tell me about racism in movies? I forgot about that slur, oh well. You dumb privileged white whore, stick to what you know. Jackie snorts and smiles. She loves getting these. Sometimes she wonders if that is her favorite reason for keeping this blog. She posted the essay online yesterday, a lengthy homage to Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing. The movie turned 30 years old several months ago, and Jackie likes to use anniversaries divisible by 5 as an excuse to write critical essays on her favorite films from years past. Previous entries have included a 50th birthday homage to 2001: A Space Odyssey and a 75th anniversary rant about the studio butchering of the Magnificent Ambersons. The Scarborough Indie Voice, the online mag for which she reviews, has no interest in the classics, so she writes these lengthy blog posts on her own time for fun. She models these articles on Roger Ebert's Great Movies essay series, although she does not fancy herself anywhere near as talented a critic. Jackie clicks in the reply box under the anonymous comment, then stares at the cursor for a few seconds. Then she types, "My stupid what?" She chuckles, but deletes it. Too subtle for this moron. She thinks for a moment, then types again. I know more than you think, oh nameless one. I've been watching movies and reading film criticism since before you were the smallest, wimpiest sperm in your daddy's tiny dick. And surely I don't have to be a visible minority to understand that racism is still a big problem in society. She reads it over, thinks, and adds, I may be white and privileged, but I'll value that over being a worthless troll like you any day. The comment is posted with a quick click. Another lazy Saturday morning of sitting around, surfing the web and trolling the trolls. Jackie might go to a movie by herself at one of the city's second-run theaters tonight. She has not decided yet. She might stay in and watch a DVD or stream a movie online instead. Either way, she likes to spend Saturdays on her own, relaxing in her small East York bachelor pad. The flat is cluttered and cramped, but a perfect refuge for her. Classic movie posters watch over her from the walls and doors. The bookshelves above her bed include titles by Ebert, Elmore Leonard, Pauline Kael, Andrew Sarris, Patricia Highsmith, Timothy Findlay, and Bill Watterson. The far wall is lined with years of DVD purchases in a bookcase and on more shelves. Everything from Criterion editions of foreign classics and sets of 1970s TV shows to a few Marvel Cinematic Universe hits decorate the wall. The fridge and cupboards are near bare, but if she decides to stay in all weekend, there is enough sustenance and entertainment around to keep her going. She opens another browser tab and logs into Spitter. Spit your thoughts at the world, the slogan reads at the top of the home page. Jackie wonders who will pick a fight with her this morning, or if she will be in the mood to pick one herself. She does not wait long. One of the first posts she spots is a forward from an account in Alabama. Charming social commentary from a distinguished gentleman, the forwarder has written above the post, which reads, Libtards in their movies. Just saw The Shape of Water. What a piece of crap. Only Holly Weird FAGIT think it's okay to show a woman having relations with a fish creature. Pervs. Jackie licks her lips. She clicks reply and types directly to the original poster, who goes by the username @TrumpLover1776 and displays a low-res photo of an American flag as the profile pic. The Shape of Water is a beautiful movie full of love, she types. You are an ugly person full of hate. She posts the reply, then types a second. And besides, what's wrong with relations between a woman and a fish? You clearly had no problem about your mom and her brother. Jackie laughs out loud. For a second or two, she wonders if the response is too cheap, if it's beneath her. She decides she does not care and posts it anyway. Out of curiosity, she flips back to JackieRoberts.com to see if there is any follow-up to her reply to Anonymous. Fuck you, CUNT, Anonymous has written. Now there is a well-thought-out response, she thinks. She's about to continue that conversation when she hears a tinny rendition of the Midnight Cowboy theme playing from her 10-year-old wooden IKEA coffee table. She picks up her cell phone. Rick Pavere and his number are flashing on it. On a Saturday, she thinks. Jackie considers letting it go to voicemail or texting him back. Before she can stop herself, she answers the ring and taps the speakerphone on. You busy today? Rick says. For fuck's sake, should I lie? She thinks. Not really, she answers. You sure? You sound hesitant. Too late. Yes, yes, I'm not busy. Good, I'm in the office today. Want to come down for a few minutes? Something I want to talk to you about. Huh? Sure. Now? If you're free. What's it about? Tell you when I get here. Crap. Rick has never asked her to come see him on a weekend before. Something she has done or said? Is she about to be fired from the Indie Voice or whatever the equivalent is for such a small publication? Is the site going to shut down or drop the film section? Or is she worrying about nothing? Probably nothing. Jackie closes the web browser on her computer and grabs an elastic band to put her dark brown hair into her usual ponytail. Humphrey Bogart, hatted and suited as Sam Spade, looks at her from the screen wallpaper pic. He does not look optimistic. She is about to shut down the computer, but feels compelled to check Spitter again. One new notification. Somebody under the user ID @naggingconscience42 has replied to her last post, to Trump Lover 1776. That's not fair, Jackie, the former has written. Not everybody shares your life experience or cultural education. Not everybody can relate to shape the way you do. Think about that before you condescend to others, okay? The profile pic is for Nagging Conscience 42 is a fuzzy photo of a pert beagle puppy. Jackie reads the comment again and shrugs. I got nothing, she says out loud. The office, as Rick Bevere put it, is the basement of his parents' beachfront house in a quiet, dull Scarborough neighborhood. This is where he runs and edits scarboroughindievoice.ca. Books, CDs, newspapers, and printed out email press releases lie haphazardly all over some tables and chairs. Thick piles of dust cover the corners, and tiny cloth bits and dirt specks dot the dull gray carpet. The little room where the magic happens, as Rick self-deprecatingly describes it, has a distinct smell of Popeye's chicken, because Rick munches on a breaded wing as he talks. You sure you don't want a piece? He says, indicating the cardboard box of chicken. There's a couple of breasts in there. No thanks, trying to cut down on the junk food. Rick keeps talking with his mouth full. I should take a page for your book, he says. This stuff's going to give me a heart attack before I'm 40. Maybe a stroke too. He swallows. Maybe it'll be worth it. So yummy. Jackie nods. Junk is yummy. That's why we're addicted to it. Rick drops from bones in the garbage bin under his desk. A short, awkward silence. Right, he says. So what did you want to see me about again? Jackie squints. You called me, she says. Rick blinks, then slaps his forehead. I'm an idiot, he says. He takes 3 sheets of paper from the other side of his desk and hands them to her. Just wondering if you saw this the other day? A printout of the Post and Chronicle online news story about the Peace House fiasco. Yeah, says Jackie. Think I saw that in the Star? What do you think? She does not know what she thinks. Yeah, she says with a shrug. Pretty messed up. Pretty messed up indeed. He sips from a can of Diet Pepsi. Sort of like the wildest Coen Brothers movie, and not one of their good ones. I thought it was funny how the media, even the mainstream stuff, said so little about Paul Shoreditch himself. Some stuff I saw just went on and on about what a shame it was that the property was trashed. He sniggers. Why wouldn't they say more about the guy? Rick shrugs. Your faith in the integrity of contemporary journalism is touching. Shaking his head with a grin, he adds, man, at least he went out with a blast. He stares at Jackie as if waiting for an answer. Yeah, to amass all this hatred. What exactly did this guy do? That, says Rick, is what I want to get from you. Excuse me? I was thinking of doing it as a Rickroll, he goes on, referring to his own sporadic editorial column on the website, but I didn't know what angle to take on it, and it seems a little big for that. He takes a leg from the Popeyes box and starts gnawing on it. Jackie, what if we did some kind of feature story on this? You know, do some research, interview some peeps, find out what the deal was with this freak, right? Jackie stares at Rick. After she's taken it in, she laughs. You're asking me? She says, to do a news feature? Seriously? Sure, it'll be fun. But that's not what I do. Pause. That's not what we do. Rick blinks. Why can't we? Rick, the Indie Voice isn't even a news website. We do reviews of albums and concerts and movies and plays and stuff. Doesn't this feel out of our scope? Maybe it's time to expand our scope a bit. I'm not an investigative journalist. I never even studied journalism. My degree's in English Lit. This isn't my line. Let's call it a free journalism school then, for both of us. I'd be paid for this too, right? The only reason Rick can afford to pay his writers a measly $20 per review is because his father, the vice president of some local hardware manufacturer, owns and funds the mag. How much? We can talk about that another time. Well, Jackie scours her brain for more excuses. Even to herself, she hesitates to admit the real reason she does not want this assignment. Her unabashed laziness. Watching movies for free and praising or trashing each one in 500 words is good enough for her. Her weekday afternoon and evening job at the Hogtown Philharmonic Orchestra's call center is easy and pays her rent, if barely, but actual grunge work, not her sack of happy. Is this just another one of your whims, Rick? Jackie asks. Like that Halloween when you asked Alana to sneak into Old City Hall and stay overnight to try to get a picture of the ghosts? You remember how that turned out? Rick ignores the memory jog. Look, I've always thought of the Indie Voice as a culture mag. Culture doesn't always mean film and music, though. It can mean like society and that kind of thing. Society and that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Actually, no. Have a look at this. He types something on his keyboard and turns the computer monitor to face Jackie. The screen shows a web page with a stark black background. At the top of the browser reads the title, Fuck Paul Shoreditch, in large, bold, white Comic Sans font. Underneath is a fuzzy, unflattering black and white photo of a teenage boy with a flat nose, big ears, and 1980s style dark feathered hair. The boy has a shy expression, almost smiling and not quite getting there, with side snaggle teeth sticking out horribly atop a ludicrous overbite with front buck teeth, all of which make his face look like that of a stupid, sexless giant mouse. Under the photo in smaller Times New Roman blue type, she reads, "Click on this little fucker's ugly face to enter the site." Holy shit, says Jackie. Her first thought is also, holy shit. Her second is, Paul was a bit ugly. It's a website devoted to Paul Shoreditch, says Rick. A hate website. I can see that. Pause. Is this even legal? Probably not, but its content goes back a few years and nobody's ever shut it down. Jesus. It's basically a collection of anecdotes and stories about the guy. Anybody can just submit something and have it posted unedited on the site. He takes a breath and continues. So what I'm thinking is, what does it say about our society, about our culture, that some ordinary dude, not a celebrity, not a powerful man in any way, can generate this much hatred and bitterness among so many people, even strangers? And what does it say that everybody's already forgotten about this after only a few days? He shrugs. Even if he deserved it, what is that saying? Jackie stares at the grainy photo on the screen. The more she looks at young Paul Shoreditch's dopey, immature face, the more revulsion she feels, even while aware she has no logical reason to feel that way. How can you hate someone you know nothing about? One more question, she says. Why me? Why you? Why are you asking me? Why not Alana or Neil? Rick grins and looks away from Jackie. Well, I hate to sound like a suck-up, but because you're awesome, Jackie. She rolls her eyes. I know. You tell me after every review I send you. You really are the best writer on the site. Way better than Gemma was, and she's had a book review published in the Star. Your passion, your snark, your intelligence. You're the only one I could see doing this. Jackie clears her throat and hopes she's not blushing. Thanks. Part of her wants to hear more praise. Part of her wants to tell him to shut the hell up. But she says nothing more. And you have so much potential. Not that there's anything wrong with doing reviews, but I want to see you stretch yourself a bit. She nods, unsure. The only stretching she wants to do right now is out on her couch with Netflix as her date. Rick turns the screen back to face him. All right, now get the hell out of here. I got work to do and chicken to eat. He grins at her as he takes a drumstick out of the box. This is bullshit, Jackie thinks as she walks home from the subway, her sneakers crunching on the fallen leaves on the sidewalk. She was looking forward to doing nothing for the rest of the day, and she ended up with a thing. Not that she has to start right away. Rick didn't give her a deadline or even a word count, but this project seems too big and strange to put off. How do I begin this? What does a real reporter even do? What the hell is Rick thinking? She enters her first floor apartment and throws off her fall jacket and shoes. The clock on her stove says 1:12, so she plays a couple of season 3 Simpsons episodes on her computer while she makes niece a half-assed lunch for herself, 2 pieces of toast, an apple, and a glass of milk. Then it's close to 2 o'clock, and she plays an old 1960s Spider-Man cartoon on YouTube as she washes the few dishes, humming along with the groovy Ray Ellis score. Fresh out of procrastination, she sits and stares at Sam Spade on the computer screen. "What should I do, Bogey?" she says out loud. "How do I start this thing?" Bogey just stares back with those sad eyes. Some help you are, you gumshoe twit." She sits for another 10 minutes. I could check Spitter. No, I'd be on it forever. Then, I wonder if he's still in the office. She reaches for her cell and taps Rick's number. "What's the deadline for this Shoreditch thing?" A brief pause, during which she imagines him shrugging nonchalantly. "I don't know, can you do it in a month?" "November 19th sound good?" "Okay, and how long?" Another pause. "I don't know, how long are these things usually?" Somebody needs to unmute. Somebody needs to mute, I mean. How long are these things usually?" "I thought you'd oh, sorry, wrong voice. How long are these things usually?" "I thought you'd know." Dumbass, she thinks. 3,000 words? It's the internet, so exact length doesn't matter." "And how much is this paying?" "We can discuss that another time." Jackie rolls her eyes. Anything else?" "Yeah, Rick, where should I start on this?" He laughs. "Check your email. I sent you a few links." "All right. Definitely get in touch with Cathy McDougal. She's a name some readers will recognize." "I don't recognize it." "Really?" An edge of disbelief in his tone. "You've heard of Cat's Corner, right?" "Heard of it. It's sort of the Canadian Jezebel, but way meaner, way nastier." "Okay. Trust me, you'll love her." The first link in Rick's email is fuckpaulshoreditch.com. The second is catscorner.ca, and also a few news stories about the Peace House incident. She clicks on the first link and sees the same website homepage Rick showed her. As directed, she clicks on the fucker's ugly face. An introductory letter to visitors in plain Times New Roman. "Welcome to fuckpaulshoreditch.com. Welcome, happy face emoji. This website is a tribute of sorts, but not that kind of tribute, winky face. It is a safe web space where people can share their stories, their rants, their curses, their vents, their pain, whatever they want to share. All about that malodorous tit Paul Shoreditch." I kind of owe that to Tim, by the way, malodorous tit. "Do you know Paul? Did he annoy you a lot? Did he creep you out? Did he hurt you in any way? Did he make your life a living hell?" Sad face emoji. "If so, then you're at the right place. This is where we gather to bask in our dislike for this horrid, pathetic little man and all that he stands for. So please post on our message board. My friends, email us your story, even write up a poem or paint something to express your rage and hurt. We're not picky," happy face emoji. "Anything you can contribute to this shrine, this homage, this honest and full tribute to a man who has ruined so many lives. Lots of love. Avenger of the Week, website founder and editor, Spitter, Avenger at the Week 81, of the Week 81. On the left sidebar are links to subsections stories, essays, reports, forum, and miscellaneous. Jackie clicks on stories, scrolls down a list that seems to go on forever, and then randomly chooses a piece called Paul and His Stupid Sweater, dated August 22, 2014, and authored by site user Tony Day. "So I went to high school in Mississauga, Ontario with Paul Shoreditch. He wore a lot of goofy clothes, and some of us like to call him Furley, like Mr. Furley from the old show Three's Company, who used to wear all the bad clothes. Well, there was this one sweater Paul wore a lot. It was awful even by 80 standards. It was all green with these blue stripes." "Really?" thinks Jackie. "A sweater? That's a hell of a long way from ruin so many lives." Jackie wonders if this is a random guy who stumbled on the website and recognized Paul's name. Bored with Tony, Jackie backtracks to the previous page. She scans the list, which includes such headings as "the way he slurped when he drank something," and "that fucking singing," and "what a loser," and "couldn't play softball for shit." Then she backtracks to the reports section. At the top of the list, dated October 17, 2019, is the heading, in all caps, "The fucker is dead. Now we are free," written by Avenger of the Week. At last, the fucker is dead, happy face emoji. Forever will he remain so. It turns out that Paul Shoreditch had a little accident. What kind of an idiot just falls from a building? Laughing face emoji. How hard can it be to keep a window closed? Well, it doesn't matter. We are free. I just found out that his funeral is happening on Monday. It's at Peace House Funeral Center in what used to be East York, Toronto. I can't imagine who would want to go to this thing. Family? I can't imagine that he had any friends unless they were masochistic sociopaths. Winky face emoji. You know what would be a fun thing to do? If a lot of us showed up for the funeral and made a mess of it in some way. Happy face emoji. Show anyone who is fucked up enough to show up what everybody really thinks of Paul. We can make a real statement. What do you say? Avengers Write-Up has more than 130 replies. Many of them have headings like, let's do it, happy face, and great idea, and Paul was a scumbag, everyone needs to know. One even reads, you are a national hero, Avenger. Jackie cannot find a single reply that suggests the protest is not such a good idea. She stares at the screen. Her jaw hangs open. Her eyes are wide. Jesus, Paul, what in the name of God's balls did you do to all these people? And if you want to know what Paul did, you're going to have to buy the book. Hate Story. I'm going to put links in the chat on the Amazon and Barnes & Noble and other links. So give it up for me, I guess. So why don't I just do that right now before I forget? Pre-order links for Hate Story. I'm going to copy and paste that in the chat right now, and then I'm going to go back and read some of your stuff in the chat. And oh, I was recently on the podcast Start Reflections on Writing and Publishing, so why don't I just put that in there too? If you have time, have a listen to that too. And I wonder who comes next. Now I introduce Skylar. I hope Skylar's ready. So Skylar, and you've met Heather already. Skylar is another person who is kind of instrumental in getting Hate Story published by Dragonfly. She is based in Perth, Australia. She is a wonderful poet. She has a book called Pieces of Humanity, and her second book is coming out through Dragonfly, and it's 3:47 in the morning for her where she is. So give her extra applause for getting up early. Skylar J. Wynter.
Hi. We haven't discussed my cut yet as like the person who got your book to Lisa, by the way, Jeff. So, you know, that discussion has to happen. But thank you for having me along. I am very tired. My brain is not working very well. So I'm going to read a poem which comes in my first book, Pieces of Humanity. And so this is like original work of mine, which is always hard to look back on. I don't know if there's any other authors in the room, but I kind of, yeah. Anyway, whatever, it is what it is. This is called Impact, and I'm reading it because it was one of the poems that I wrote about social media and kind of the the things that we should be, I think, mindful of. It's called Impact. Click, flick, comment, swipe, data footprint, stack and track, sending thoughts, feelings, opinions across the world and back. A cause and effect considered. Does our conscience feel a tug in rare mindfulness moments of which we are so smug? Do we ever stop to wonder if words or actions of our own have had meteoric effect on a person or persons unknown? Has an instinctive smile or gesture kept a stranger off a ledge while impatient road rage set another over the edge? Is narcissistic satisfaction our heartwarming reward as we share numerous opinions from any vacant keyboard? Did adding our 2 cents worth to someone's end of day unwind set tomorrow's news in motion? Does that ever cross our mind? If the guy who shot his wife today was pushed across the line by your response to a random comment, would you be glad you took the time? Sure, you made it a week ago from half a world away, a mindless reply to a friend unknown, but it ruined someone's day. We probably should remember words carry exponential power, are open to interpretation, can leave someone feeling sour. They can give a cause momentum, be it evil or for good, heighten feelings beyond measure, carry truth or great falsehood. What untold havoc has been unleashed today from millions of human digits unthinkingly tapping away ego-driven behaviour not considered or thought out, feelings too often shared as quickly as they're felt. Hasty opinions, jokes, rebuttals slip from our fingertips, read by someone unintended because our social account's public. Choose to neither give nor take offence. We are allowed to disagree. An alternative opinion need not be taken personally. We decide with every post to relate or to react, can choose positive experiences for the friends our words impact. That's me. Thank you. Love your book, Jeff. Thank you so much for letting me read it and sending me those chapters before it was published. I absolutely fell in love with it. It's probably not normally the kind of book that I would pick up, but same as Lisa, same as everyone who's read it and will read it. Once you start, you can't stop. It's just addictive. I want the next one. I hope you're writing it. And yeah, that's all from me. Thanks for having me along.
Thank you, Skylar. Another hand for Skylar. Applaud Skylar and stuff. And all of the guest performers, by the way, I encourage you to promote your books and whatnot in the chat. I put Heather's website, a link to Heather's website earlier on. And thank you again, Skylar. Next up, we have the other Australian who is not here. She was supposed to, Kelly Van Nelson was supposed to perform here live, and she couldn't make it live, but she sent a couple of videos, one of which I haven't seen yet, but one of which is on YouTube, and I'm going to play it. Now, Kelly Van Nelson, she does a million things. She's an author, and apparently she does some business stuff too. You can look her up. She has a best-selling book called Punch and Judy, which is an excellent, I have a copy, of course, an excellent poetry book about domestic violence and whatnot. It's very powerful. And yeah, she's based in Sydney, Australia. So why don't I just go ahead and find that YouTube link. Oh, wrong email. We're so professional here. I'm going to find the YouTube video, and then I'm gonna share screen so you can see it too. Da, da, da. You just heard the clapping. How do I do this share screen thing again? Da, da, da. All right, can you see it?
Yes.
We can't hear it, Jeff.
That can be a problem. What if I turn the...
Jeff, on the share screen thing, have you clicked share sound?
Is there a share sound?
Yeah.
I only see you are screen sharing and stop share.
No, there's no sound share on this.
No.
Oh, that's silly. Oh, wait a minute. Oh no, I saw a picture of a microphone and it just says search with your voice, and that's on the YouTube page. So no, that's got
Actually, Jeff,
yeah.
can you stop the share and just start it again?
Okay, I'll give that a try.
And then on that, in the screen that pops up, there should be a little box on the bottom that says share sound.
Oh, okay, I see it. I see it. I just checked that little box and everybody's happy. Okay, so let me just put that at the beginning again. Okay, here we go again. Can you see it?
Yeah, can hear it.
So as you can tell from the book cover, I also am fascinated with graffiti. I'm not like a secret vandalist or anything, but I just love the art, and it's sort of a little bit of a lost soul as graffiti. People sometimes have a misconception of it, but some of the most stunning street art is out there, and I always look for the underlying messages, the social issues and the political injustices out there, and I take the time enough to photograph it. This is Hosier Lane in Melbourne. Again, a few people in the house were at my book launch, which was at Wolf Lane. If you were there, this one is for you. It's called Wolf Lane. I strolled down Wolf Lane and grabbed aromatic coffee from a vendor killing it from minuscule premises furnished with rickety antiques. There's hustle and bustle in every direction as the sun shines brightly on Wolf Lane, and its eclectic inhabitants. There's cobblestones beneath my heels, paving the way for the pedestrians walking about their business. After a late night at the office, I retraced my footsteps along the glistening wet path of Wolf Lane as the rain drizzles and dusk settles in. Shutters conceal every shop front. The traders are absent, already cashed in for the day, and the sound of traffic is humming in the distance. A lone figure looms ahead on Wolf Lane, hunched over, hoodie tucked overhead. His mouth is masked by a black bandana, and the distance between us shortens. My breath quickens in anticipation of the unknown. His work is breathtaking, a man in dreadlocks playing a didgeridoo, feet bare, dirty, underfoot. Spray paint in bright colours beneath iron windows bars on Wolf Lane. I nod in acknowledgement as the street artist continues his masterpiece and the rain begins to clear at the top of Wolf Lane. I glance back at the graffiti zone, an evolving canvas for expressive creativity to flourish. It's beautiful, it's bright, and it's bold.
And that was Kelly performing.
Oh, hello, Internet. It's me, John C. Reilly, and
Hold
this
on.
is the Late Show's.
Bye-bye, John. John C. Reilly came. Give a big hand for John C. Reilly. So that was Kelly Van Elsen performing at the Perth Poetry Club, and apparently she sent a video to Lisa as well, specifically for this night. So I'm gonna give it to Lisa to share screen, and remember to share voice, share sound as well, so we can all see stuff.
Okay, put in the comments if you can't hear this one. No, I can't hear it. Okay, I can't see where the there
So,
we go. Yeah, got it.
I can't hear. I heard amazing.
Did you say you couldn't hear it?
I heard bits of it. It was kind of
It's very
fuzzy.
difficult to hear. Very
Okay.
difficult.
See if I can. I'll start it again from the beginning.
Did you get that option when you shared it?
No,
The sound?
no.
Well, I heard my name and amazing. So I
Okay,
guess
that's all you need really. I'll share the video on the Facebook page.
that would be a great idea, actually. So yeah, so you get to see it anyway. And
Yeah.
so that's Kelly Van Elsen. A hand for Kelly Van Elsen, or at least half of her. Okay, so what's next? Oh, I should actually share her info as well. So give me a second to find Kelly Van Elsen's website if you want to look her up and find out more about her books and whatnot. There, I've just shared her website. Look her up. She's wonderfully talented and smart and all that kind of thing. Next up, oh, this is the Q&A session. So I hope you've been posting questions for me. And Lisa, it's Lisa's turn to facilitate this. So let's start.
Okay, so fire away with your questions, people. So Kate McKim asks, have you cast anyone in your head yet for the
Okay.
the book?
You mean like for like a hypothetical movie version?
Yeah.
I'm glad you asked that. So I'm sure it's never going to happen, but if somebody ever wanted to make a film out of Hate Story, my first choice for Jackie would be Emily Hampshire, Stevie from Schitt's Creek. If you've watched Schitt's Creek, she was the brunette who was the motel manager. And actually, because I was binge watching Schitt's Creek while I was writing the first draft of the second half of the book, and I totally imagined her in the role. I thought she had the deadpan sarcasm that was right for Jackie, but I also thought she has the vulnerability, which is really important in the second half of the book. So she's my first choice for Jackie. I did ask Heather once and Heather suggested Elizabeth Moss, which would also be really good. I mean, Elizabeth Moss really can do anything. So, I mean, I'd cast her as anything, really. But Emily Hampshire would be my first choice. For Morty Bozer, the store manager, I imagine Jason Alexander, or, at least a George Costanza type from Seinfeld. For Cathy McDougal, my first choice would be Rebel Wilson. My second would probably be Amy Schumer in a fat suit. I mean, I know she thinks of herself as being overweight, but I'd put more on her. What other characters would be? I think Skylar suggested Willem Dafoe as Paul Shoreditch. That would be pretty interesting. What other characters are there? Glenn Close. Glenn Close is Paul Shoreditch's mother. That would be my first choice. Who else is there? That's all I can think of for now. Sure, that's my answer.
Come on, fire away, folks. Get those questions in. So Special K wants to know, where did this idea come from?
Well, she's actually asking where did it come frock. But I'll answer the come from. Typos amused me. I actually wrote a guest blog for Kate McKim's Life with More Cowbell blog detailing this. But in a nutshell, I first got the idea, like the skeletal idea of this around 2007 or 2008, just after rewatching Citizen Kane. And I thought, well, what if you did this movie about, instead of like a famous millionaire newspaper tycoon, what if you did it about this loser that everybody hates? And there's a riot at the funeral, and the journalist has to find out, why everybody hates this guy so much. What's the deal? So I had the skeletal idea, and I called the novel, I titled it Interred with Their Bones, which it's from a Shakespeare Julius Caesar couplet. I've kept that as an epigraph for the novel. So I tried writing that, and it just didn't work. It was too over the top and silly. So I left it for about 10 years. And then it came back to me a few years ago when I wanted to write something based on the shitty media men list that was going around at the beginning of the Me Too movement, and just about online shaming in general. So that came back to me, and I thought, why don't I put the two ideas together? And that's how Hate Story turned out.
And I'll be glad it did. Cathy Carson asks, are any characters based on real people?
Oh, yes, definitely. I don't want to go into too much detail because I don't want to be punched in the face next time I go outside. But Paul Shoreditch was partly based on this kid I knew in middle school who was very, very quiet and hardly ever spoke, hardly ever expressed emotion even, unless it was really pushed out of him. And so he was bullied somewhat, obviously, for that. And so he was a partial inspiration for Paul Shoreditch. And of course, there's a lot of me in Jackie Roberts. There's a lot of one of my ex-girlfriends in her. And she's also based on a lot of tomboyish female friends I've had over the years. So there's a lot of me in Jackie. There's a lot of me in Paul. And Morty's based on one of my old bosses. That's as far as I'm going to go with that. So.
Well, Scott wants to know, adding on to Cathy's question, are they people that you've met on Zoom?
On Zoom? Not that I can think of. No, I mean, pretty much they're based on people I know in real life, combined with my imagination, of course. I don't think there's anybody based on Zoom because I started writing the book at the beginning of 2019. So this is well before the pandemic started, and I was finishing the first draft shortly after the pandemic started. So I wrote it roughly the beginning of 2019 to around spring 2020. That was my writing of the first draft. And so like the inspiration pretty much came before the pandemic. I ended up having to write the pandemic into it, and I'm not gonna go any further on that because I don't want to spoil anything.
Okay, let me have a look. Questions to ask. I'm sorry, I'm just reading what Bex just typed here. What part of the book did you find the hardest to write?
Oh, chapter 5 was very difficult because for a bunch of reasons. That's when the book starts getting really edgy, and I don't want to spoil anything, but that's chapter 5 is when the book starts getting to really controversial and edgy subject matter. And I had to go over it a few times because I was trying to be as delicate as I could while also being honest. And when I was working with the Humber School for Writers, with Giles Blunt at the Humber School for Writers, it bothered him in the opposite way that I expected. So I had to rewrite it over and over again. And I kind of workshopped it with a bunch of my writer friends, including Heather and Tim, who are here, and Mike, and I think Lizzie, who are here tonight. Or today, and finally got to a point where I said, okay, I think this will work. And Giles was like, yes, this is a definite improvement. I still think he wasn't really getting the satirical intention of it, but I can't really go into more detail because again, I don't want to spoil it, but read chapter 5 and you'll probably know what I'm saying. So that chapter was really difficult and I had to go through it several times.
Okay, we'll go for one final question, unless anybody's got any burning questions. Oh, hang on, here we go. Oh, I've just lost that. Bear with me a second.
Hi, Suzanne. My niece is here too.
Ivy Reese wants to know if the book was written to help create change in the readers.
I would say yes. I think anytime you write a satire, you're trying to create change in somebody. I mean, a satire is kind of a fantasy, a pessimistic fantasy about something that's really happening, but you make it even worse to show people what it could be or what you see, how you see it. So it's about to make people aware. I mean, I ridicule the right wing a lot, but I also ridicule the extreme left. So I'm kind of hoping people kind of read it and they see the people they disagree with, but they also see themselves. So in a way, it's kind of, I'm hoping it'll open people's mind and say, well, yes, I mean, maybe I'm going too far with this kind of thing, or, so I mean, really any satire, any social kind of criticism you do is hoping it'll be some kind of change. I don't remember who said it, but somebody once said like satire is like, it's the action of a disappointed idealist. People usually think it's a pessimism or people who are nihilistic or something. No, satire is the action of a disappointed idealist, a person who's like, well, this is how it should be, and it's not even close to that. So here's me exaggerating the way it is to show you, look, we got to make things better. So in that sense, yes.
Yeah, and using humor is a great way to help people approach complicated or difficult topics.
Absolutely. That's something I've said many times as well, because, if you're, Oscar Wilde said.
It's possible your quotes from Oscar Wilde, actually.
Yeah. Oscar Wilde said, if you tell people the truth, you better make them laugh or they'll kill you. So that's pretty much the purpose of satire, is to make people laugh by telling them the truth.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to reading it, Jeff.
Thanks, Ivy. And I see that, I think, was it Scott asked, what is the capital of Outer Mongolia? I believe that's Toledo, Ohio, but I'm going to have to look at any of that. I thought that was an important question I really needed to address. Anything else?
Yes, we've got a question from, sorry, I can't see it now, it's gone. Bear with me a second.
Second's over.
Marissa wants to know what is next on your bucket list, literary wise.
Good question. So Skylar was saying, I really hope you're writing a second novel, Jeff. And I have started one, or to be more specific, I've continued one that I started several years ago. And I'm having trouble finding the time to continue with it because of the day job and because of promoting this novel and because of life getting in the way. But I have started a second novel. We'll see how far I get with that. I would really like to do a collection of short stories at some point. Maybe I'll need to talk with Lisa privately about that at some point. But yes, I would really like to do a collection of short stories. I've got a bunch of them that I think are funny, and some of them have been published, and some of them nobody wants to publish for the same, for the same reason the other ones got published. But that's something I'd love to do. And otherwise, I'm continuing my spoken word career over Zoom, writing stuff whenever I get inspired, when other people on Zoom inspire me. And hoping this stupid pandemic ends so we can get back to real life stuff too. Hopefully I can do a live launch in addition to the Zoom launch with local people performing and stuff.
Sounds awesome. One more final comment, it's not a question. Suzanne has said, this is my freaking uncle, everyone. Hi, Uncle Jeff. I'm totally going to get this book. Thanks, Suzanne.
I'm glad you're totally going to get it, because if you were only halfway going to get it, that would probably work out so well. Ivy just asked, I see, would you consider having a sequel to Hate Story? Well, the thing is, I really like the character Jackie, so I would consider at least writing more stories with Jackie. I've actually had ideas for short stories with the same character, including like cut scenes from the novel. Maybe I could redo those as short stories or whatever. So as far as a full novel, if I came up with a story idea with it that was just as good and about the same themes, maybe I wouldn't want to just do it as a mechanical sequel after sequel kind of thing, like Hercule Poirot or something, unless I had really good ideas for books. But definitely I have ideas for stories.
Yeah, the short story idea would be great to cross promote Hate Story in a couple years.
Cool. Let me just introduce Ivy for a second. Actually, Ivy is another writer here in Toronto, and she edits a literary journal called The Artiste. And I have a short story called what is it called again? The Madness East of St. George, which was supposed to be published in the 5th issue 2 years ago, and it's been delayed, I'm assuming because of the pandemic. But supposedly it's going to be out this spring with my story in it, and she's holding up the A logo. There it is, The Artiste.
I can find a magazine if I leave for 20 seconds. But yes, the magazine will be relaunching in the summer, along with AuthorFest, which she'll hopefully be there. Heather Babcock's going to be there. It's going to be incredible.
That's right. June 18 in Toronto is going to be AuthorFest. I'm going to have a table there selling Hate Story. Heather will be there. And apparently lots of other local writers are going to be there. So if you're in Toronto, go to that. I'm hoping to get a table on Word on the Street on June 11th as well. So, but I haven't gone around to finding out about that.
Amazing.
All right. Anything else question-wise?
Just from Suzanne, she just wants to know where to get the book from. So what we'll do is we'll post some links at the end of today's session. But you can basically go on Amazon, look up Jeff Cottrill, and you'll find Hate Story.
That's right. And I believe I did post those links earlier on, so you could also scroll up to find them. Yeah, Lisa will post them again, like she just said. So Amazon, Barnes & Noble. If you're in Australia, there's also Booktopia and Google Books and stuff like that. So yeah.
Awesome. Yep, I think that wraps it up for the Q&A.
Okay, so I guess we'll head on. So if Special K is ready, Special K is a performance poet from Richmond, Virginia, and she's really raised her profile over the last couple of years over Zoom during the pandemic. And she's always really passionate and really a fantastic performer. I would love to see her live someday, but for now, I've just settled for Zoom. So yeah, and a lot of you know her already. So give it up for Special K.
Hey, what's up? How's everybody? First, Jeff, I want to say huge congratulations on this. Wow. I can't wait to read it. Okay. So this piece I'm going to do today is when Jeff first asked me and he told me the name of his book was Hate Story, this piece immediately came to mind because it's my own personal quote unquote, or a piece of my own personal quote unquote hate story, and it doesn't have a title. So here we go. Dear lady whom I've never met, your poetry was beautiful. It flowed from your lips exactly how I imagine ink would spill from 100-year-old wells. It made my heart swell with its forced stop and go. Dear lady, whom I've never met before. The words I wanted to give. These are all the things I wanted to say. And I wanted to type on the screen the other day. But your poetry was interrupted again and again and again, forcing you to stop and go. Dear lady whom I've never met before. I could see your anger rising, your cheeks becoming more and more rosy, the fire in your eyes putting on such a show that even the dimmest of dim souls would know to batten down the hatches and take cover from the anger that was moments away from erupting within. Dear lady, whom I've never met before. No one blames you for needing to explode. No one needs to be told or given reason or explanation for your immediate retreat. Dear lady whom I've never met before. Was this your first time? Now I have to admit, I have never been Zoom bombed before. So it most definitely was mine. And as I heard him say, inward, 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 again and again and again, I sat miles away, anchored to my chair. My stomach nose dived to far below my toes, and then reversed its course and nearly ejected itself from the holes within my nose. Dear lady, whom I've never met before. I wonder if you knew how much privilege you showed by announcing to an audience who had all witnessed the same 15 seconds of attempted robbery as you, a desire from some idiot nincompoop to claim their spotlight and fame, that you could not take this and you were going away. All while I sat glued to the chair, everything within me instantly rooted and grounded in fear. Dear lady whom I've never met before. Have you ever experienced this kind of fear? Dear lady whom I've never met before. I want us to be allies. The poetry we both sing to bring us together in nothing but happy endings. Dear lady whom I've never met before. Right now, I feel further away from you than even those words streamed ignorantly together to form incomplete sentences of hate. Inward, 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 does what it always does, somehow able to separate. Dear lady whom I've never met before. How can we come together when we are on the same team and you don't even know the privilege you exhibit. Dear lady, whom I've never met before, tell me, please, I beg of you to explain. How can we regain the ground and reclaim things in the name of love when you're unsure of the gift your mere whiteness brings? And I can't breathe, frozen under invisible knees, brought on by the words of this bomber, dear lady whom I've never met before. Those words, they strangle me. And I know it's not your job to rescue me, but I have nowhere else to go. And it's at your feet where these gasps of pain have landed, dear lady, whom I've never met before. I have nothing else to say. And herein is where the problem lay. All my words that should have exploded from shotguns and cannons ablaze have only just landed flat on this page. And in the time it took for me to gather my thoughts and reassemble my brainwaves, you have gone about your merry way with possibly no memory of me, powerless to move from the confines of my chair. Dear lady, whom I've never met before. That's it. That's me. Thank you. Also, so I did. Oh my God, can't talk. I recently released a spoken word album. It is called Wordspiration Awakens. It is available for digital download on specialkpoetry.com, and also over on Instagram. I do Sundays Are for Spoken Words, where I read the words of other people. So if ever you would like to have me read your words, I'd love for you to send them to me. I am Divine Miss Kim with no vowels, so it's DVNMSKM on Instagram. And thank you, Jeff, for inviting me to read and to share. And congratulations again. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much, Special K. Please unmute and give it up for Special K. From Richmond, Virginia. Again, feel free to share your info in the chat. I hear an echo. See, that was an echo. Okay, who's up after? Oh, okay. So up next, following Special K, we have another local friend of mine, and he's known for some very far-fetched fiction, mostly YA, but also for adults as well. And he's written such novels as Section K, not to be confused with Special K, Section K, also Epoch, Evil, and Young Nostradamus. And he's here tonight to give you a reading. If you're ready, give it up for Timothy Carter.
Hello, everyone. So, if you'll all just excuse me while I text my girlfriend and let her know to sign back in, because I'm going to be on now. But I have a couple of things I could read from, and honestly, I need a vote. So I've got something that's relatively new that I'm working on, and it's edgy, to say the least. It'll require a dozen trigger warnings, or I could read from my novel, Young Nostradamus. So I like, I'm kind of mixed. If you'd like, what?
Do the trigger warning one.
Yeah, I want to hear the trigger warning one, but I also kind of want you to promote your book. So I'm kind of divided. So I would like to be triggered though. Please trigger me.
How about I read the intro to, Young Nostradamus, which is pretty short, and then I'll do a chapter. Well, not a chapter, but I'll do something from the new one then.
Perfect.
Fair enough.
And then you'll go from, oh, that's kind of funny and sweet, to what the F is wrong with that guy? So with that in mind, here is the prologue to young Nostradamus. 4 men stood before a large glass window in a dimly lit room. They all wore dark suits and stared through tinted sunglasses at the room beyond the window. In that room, a lamp illuminated a brown cloth spread out on the lab table. Lying on the brown cloth, gurgling contentedly, was a baby. The 4 dark-clad professionals regarded the child for some time, each with the same serious expression. The baby looked up at them and giggled to itself. One of the men waggled a finger and said, "Coochie coo." The other 3 glared at him, and he immediately retracted his finger and became silent once more. "Do you think it sees something?" asked the youngest of the 4 men. "Is that why he is laughing?" "Maybe it sees what it's going to do on that cloth," said the man who had coochie cooed. "We chose brown for a reason." "I do not believe his powers will manifest as yet," said the group leader, a more mature man, watching the baby with casual interest. "What should be noted here today, gentlemen, is that the subject appears to be a normal, healthy child. No signs of abnormality at all, not like the other subjects." The others grimaced. "This may well be the very child we hoped to create when this project began," he went on. "We have successfully cloned the individual in question. We can now proceed with phase 2. "What is phase 2? asked the younger man. "Did you not read the material?" said the leader. "It was on page 4, said the middle-aged man. "Sorry, I had a date last night," the young man said sheepishly. "Phase 2, said the leader, is where we raise the child to the age of 18, monitoring him closely for any signs of ability." "You mean that future predicting stuff," said the young man. "Precisely," said the leader. "The first task of phase 2 is to assign the child a name." "I thought he was subject 32, said the other middle-aged man, who was bald. "A real name," the group leader said. "His first name is to be Michael, after the man he was cloned from. But his surname," the leader paused, consulted his notes, "the surname must be slightly derogatory, something that will inspire ridicule from his childhood peers." "Why is that?" said the younger man. "So he'll be an outsider," said the bald man. "It's on page 5. "But why not just raise him here?" the young man said. "We've got plenty of facilities." "Mr. Oberon," said the leader, "you are fairly new to our group and therefore not privy to our plans prior to your arrival. It is for this reason that I extend to you a certain amount of latitude. However, you are starting to seriously tick me off. We have been at this project for some time now, and we know full well what will produce the best results. Please do not question me again." "Sorry, Mr. Weaver," Mr. Oberon said. "Back to the subject of names," Mr. Weaver said. "Does anyone have a suggestion?" The room was silent as a group of serious-looking men in dark clothing furrowed their brows in an attempt to summon some imagination. "How about Rochiches?" the middle-aged man suggested. "You know, Mike Rochiches." The room stared at him for a few moments. "No, Mr. Henderson," said Mr. Weaver, "that will not do." "Or Rapstinks," suggested Mr. Oberon, as in Mike Rapstinks. "Definitely not," Mr. Weaver said. "Something simple, yet clever. Something that sounds like a real name, yet has something to it that his peers can latch onto with mirth." "R broke down?" said Mr. Henderson. "Shut up," said Mr. Weaver. "Anyone else? How about you, Mr. Westwood?" "Loser," the bald man said, "with a U." "Not bad," Mr. Weaver said. "A bit too obvious, though." "Dumber," suggested Mr. Oberon. "Way too obvious," Mr. Weaver said. "Picker, pooper, whizman," Mr. Henderson put forth, and there were a few more suggestions along these lines. Mr. Weaver took off his sunglasses and massaged his temples and thought seriously about headache medication. "Is there a single creative person here?" he said at length. "Can someone come up with a name that does not rely on juvenile toilet humor?" "Does that mean Olin Smells is out?" said Mr. Henderson. "Why don't we use something from the source individual's name?" Mr. Weaver said. "Something like Nostri." 3 sets of shoulders shrugged. "Very well. From this moment forth, he shall be known as Michael Nostri." Michael Nostri started crying then, his wails audible through the room-to-room intercom. "I don't think he likes his new name, sir," said Mr. Oberon. "He is not supposed to," Mr. Weaver replied. They watched as a couple of technicians entered the room and attended to the newly named Michael Nostri. The 4 men looked at the cloned child who might just be the future of their great nation and wondered what it was the baby saw. Was their leader right about his powers not yet manifesting? Or could little Michael already see into the future? And if he could, is that why he was crying? Just what kind of a future did he see? Michael Nostri looked up at the technicians and envisioned a future where he was given a bottle of milk soon. So that is the first bit of young Nostradamus. If you could all please continue to clap silently. Great. Now, I need to ask, Jeff, how much time have I got left?
I'd like to hear some of the edgy part stuff. So, I mean, not too long, but yes, I'd like to hear some of it.
All right. Let me see now. Trying to decide if I should go from the very beginning or just briefly summarize. Oh, I'll go from the beginning. So, Templeton revved the engine, placed his phone on the dashboard, and pulled out his dink. He'd queued up his favorite porn scene and had a half-liter bottle of lube at the ready. This was going to be his last turn at bat, and he was determined to score a home run on the steering wheel before he went. As suicide plans went, this ticked all the boxes. On his phone, tiny screen, Business Bitch was getting happy. The scene was a business meeting with 6 men and women sitting at a table less than 2 meters wide. Business Bitch was giving her report while the guy in the expensive suit across from her slid his foot up her skirt. Temp always got off to this scene. He loved watching Business Bitch trying to keep her composure while the dude worked his magic on her yummy place. Her report was filled with innuendos, which did not help her situation at all. The scene frequently shifted to a fantasy where Business Bitch and the dude fucked naked on the table. She had an awesome set of hooters, but that wasn't the reason that Temp loved it. He wanted to be the dude, looking all smug as his toes tickled twat. It allowed him to fantasize about one day pleasuring a girl for real. But that was a fantasy. His decision to asphyxiate himself with carbon monoxide spoke volumes about his confidence he could turn that fantasy into reality. On screen, Business Bitch breathed deeply and undid another button on her blouse. Under the table, the dude's big toe went in and out, in and out. In the car, Temp's hand worked faster and faster. The air was getting hard to breathe. He didn't have much time left. On screen, Business Bitch slapped both palms on the table and a gasp escaped her throat. The other attendees had started wondering what was going on, all except for the dude, of course. His big toe continued plunging while his other toes twiddled. Miraculously, Business Bitch managed to turn her gasp into part of her presentation and kept going. Tap kept going too. Gently but firmly, he told himself. Remember what Dad told you before he died. It's a cock, son, not a ketchup bottle. On screen, Business Bitch lost all composure, threw her head back and moaned as she came. Her hands clenched into fists, scrunching up her proposal notes, and under the table, she squirted all over the dude's shoes. At the same time, Tap gushed on the steering wheel. He smiled. For a last spooge, it had been a good one. Business Bitch came down, looked around the table helplessly. The dude shoved his foot back in his shoe and said, all in favor say aye? Aye, all the assembled men said. And the scene ended. Classic, Temp thought. He adjusted the seat so he could lie back, made himself comfortable, and waited to die. Unfortunately, his older sister was a heroin addict. She came in through the garage's back door and set up her Get High kit on the hood of the car. She had the rubber hose tied around her arm and a syringe of happy juice in her vein before she even noticed she wasn't alone. She held up a finger to say shush, squeezed the drug into her arm, then sat herself down by the door, leaving Temp with a big old moral dilemma. He hated his sister for all kinds of reasons, but he knew she would die in the garage with him if she didn't leave. Was he okay with that? Temp decided he wasn't, he was not. The carbon monoxide was doing its work, however. He was barely awake. It had all been going so well. Trust his sister to ruin his death. Temp opened the car door and collapsed out. His pants were still open and his dinghy was dribbling. Temp wasted a few moments fumbling, trying to correct the situation, then gave up and started crawling toward his sister. It was slow going. His body felt like lead, and he was halfway to his sister before he realized he should have turned the engine off. Yeah, that would have been a really good idea. Smart, too. Only a dumbass would forget a thing like that. Keep going, he thought. Ahead, his sister had removed the needle and hose from her arm. She'd also removed her panties. She sat with her skirt up and her legs spread, giving herself a nice fingering and giving Temp a clear view of her hairy coochie-coo, which he did not want. He knew with certainty that that was the last image his mind would hold on to when he died. Temp kept going and made it all the way to his sister before the fumes got the better of him. He collapsed on top of her just as she was finishing herself off. So he got an earful of her orgasm moans. Last thing I wanted to hear, Temp thought. Get the fuck off me, perv, his sister mumbled, making feeble pushing motions on his shoulders. Then the garage door opened and their mother came in. I might have known, she screeched. And the last thing Temp saw was the frying pan swinging toward him. So that's the introduction there. And believe me, things get much worse for him in the next bit, and then considerably worse as things go on.
All right, thank you, Tim.
Woo!
Everybody unmute and give it up for Timothy Carter.
Woo! Woo! Yay, Tim!
Thank you all very much.
I would like to emphasize that first thing that Tim read was for children. The second was not. I thought I should clarify that in case somebody got confused. But the first one.
Thank you very much, Jeff.
Nobody would have known otherwise. Yes, author of Young Nostradamus and some other fine YA books. Please look them up online. Tim put stuff in the chat if you like, links and stuff. Who's after Tim? Oh, who's after Tim is somebody who has also really raised her profile over Zoom during the pandemic. She's all the way from Northern Ireland, and she has a one-person show coming up in Birmingham. So if any of you are near Birmingham, England, in April, I'll look her up. And she has this character she plays in the show and on spoken word called Danielle, and maybe she'll tell you more about that. So please give it up, unmute and give it up for Cathy Carson.
Thanks, Jeff. Huge congratulations on hit story. Well done. I'm delighted to see it. I don't know how to follow Tim, so I'm just going to do me and hope that's okay. I'm not going to do a piece on the show tonight. I'm going to do 2 shorter pieces, and I'm hoping that's okay with everyone. This first piece is called Prayer. When I was younger, I made monsters, but I didn't draw them on a page or mold them out of plasticine. I made monsters with my rage. See, I made monsters out of people because I didn't understand that you shouldn't hurt another person just because you can. And I would drag darkness from the pits of people, and I knew every trick and hack, and I'd manipulate and humiliate like a puppeteer on crack. You see, I learned that from my father. He made a monster out of me. When he made it so that anger was the only thing that I could feel, because anger felt safer somehow than fear or loss or pain. But it's the active form of all of those. And it's a cover-up for shame. Because shame is the most corrosive force that destroys anything that's good. It chews up your tomorrows and it spits out all your coulds. If shame is what defines you, it splinters your self-worth and you force others to treat you badly because you think that's what you deserve. But one day, I just couldn't find the button or the switch that I could flick. This person wasn't playing ball with me. I couldn't find what made them tick. They met my anger with compassion, and they let my insults go over their heads. They looked past my behavior and they searched for me instead. And piece by piece, my walls came down as they did everything they could. Against all evidence to the contrary, they believed that I was good. And they taught me that hurt people, and then hurt people hurt some more, and then on it goes until all the world is sore. And I was devastated by what I'd done. With all the harsh words I had spoken, I knew I had to make amends with all the people I had broken. But this wasn't just before Facebook. This was way before mobile phones. I tracked people to their workplaces. I waited for hours outside their homes. I wrote letters. I made phone calls. I sat in cafe bars for hours, weeping, shamefaced and heavy-hearted as I opened up my scars. And it's 25 years since the clarity. And I'm still drowning in the debt. You see, I can't come to the surface because I'm not finished yet. I'm still riddled with regret. And I'm still sorry to my bones. And with every breath I take each day, Lord, I am trying to atone because if hurt people, then I hope in Christ it's only fair that healed people heal people. I'm on my knees every night. And that's my prayer. That's the first piece. Second piece is called Capitals. I wrote this for my husband. I always say that my husband came into my life and taught me how to love. So this piece was written for him. I am sorry in capitals, in neon lights, in airplanes that write the letters in the sky. I am sorry. For the armor I wore in the beginning, you see, it kept me safe in a home full of hurt, but for you, it made me unreachable. For every kindness that I weaponized and hurled back at you, you see, when I tried to hold them, they turned to glass in my hands. For every argument I orchestrated, calculated, manipulated, engineered because I was unraveling and I just needed to feel in control of something. For every push back, pull away, in, out, on, off, chaos, confusion that I caused in your mind, I was trying to find what would make you snap. Because I needed to know what that looked like. And for the shame I made you feel when you showed me. For all the times I brought you to a place of pain, just so I wouldn't feel so alone in mine. For all the times I behaved as unlovable as I felt, just so I could feel like my outsides matched my insides. For not understanding back then that all that anger came from needs never met, or that all I ever had to do with you was ask. And I'm thankful for arms that were always open. For the 22-year-old you who kissed me on the top of my head, you told me the war I was waging was nothing to do with you, but that you loved me and would ring me in the morning. And you were right. For patience and persistence, kindness and compassion, never earned but given without condition. For the times I almost walked away, but I stayed, because that tug towards you was more powerful than I could ever be. For the days I wake with bedhead hair and the sleep I haven't had inked under my eyes, and you look at me and tell me I am beautiful. And for the way you dragged me kicking and screaming from the water, you say, I thought I was swimming, but you could see I was drowning. And for that space, just below your left collarbone, where if I press my ear, I can hear the thump of your heart, and slow my breath so my thump synchronizes with yours. And God, something about that will always, always still me. And I'm thankful. In capitals, in neon lights, in airplanes that write the letters in the sky. See, I am thankful. Thank you, Jeff, for having me in a fantastic lineup, and huge congratulations. Enjoy the rest of your night. Well deserved.
Thank you, Cathy. Give it up again for Cathy Carson from Northern Ireland. It's great that Zoom has allowed us to connect with, artists and people from all over the world. And speaking of all over the world, I want to point out that I am drinking Australian wine, although I've heard it's not the good Australian wine. It's the Australian wine that they export for suckers like us to drink. It's called Wallaroo Trail. Wallaroo Trail. That's the Australian touristy wine. Okay, so That was Cathy. Carson. What's next? Oh, you know what's next? It's the movie trivia quiz. So we have a movie trivia quiz because there are so many movie references within Hate Story. The protagonist, Jackie Roberts, is a huge movie buff. She writes a movie blog and stuff like that. So we have a movie quiz coming up to win a free copy of Hate Story. For those of you who don't have it yet, I'm just going to look up the questions now. And my understanding is I'm going to ask the question and then you answer, actually you write it down yourself, either write the answers down or write it down in a Microsoft Word or a Word document or something, and then paste it in the chat when I'm done. That way it's not crowded with like your individual answers for each question. Maybe Lisa can explain that better.
Yeah, so basically what we want you to do is, rather than answer each question as you get the answer, collate them all into one comment, because otherwise I've got to then try and figure out who's answered what and when, and then collate them all together. So if you can just answer all the questions at the end in one comment, that would be great.
Okay, so yeah, all the questions in one comment, and I'm gonna start it right now. Question number one. In Apocalypse Now, what smell does Colonel Kilgore love in the morning? Repeat. In Apocalypse Now, what smell does Colonel Kilgore love in the morning? Question number two. What does Rosebud turn out to be at the end of Citizen Kane? Repeat. What does Rosebud turn out to be at the end of Citizen Kane? I just want to point out that the questions get harder as you go along. Those were the easy ones. Question number three. What cast member in Do the Right Thing went on to play Gus Fring in Breaking Bad? No Googling, by the way. No Googling, no cheating, no cheating. Question number three, again. What cast member in Do the Right Thing went on to play Gus Fring in Breaking Bad? Question number four. In what classic detective film does Humphrey Bogart say to Peter Lorre, "When you're slapped, you'll take it and like it"? Question number four again. In what classic detective film does Humphrey Bogart say to Peter Lorre, "When you're slapped, you'll take it and like it"? All right, question number five. How many Police Academy movies have been released to date? How many Police Academy movies have been released to date? Neil's trying to help you, don't let him. Question number six. What legendary romantic comedy allegedly caused a decline in undershirt sales after Clark Gable revealed his bare chest in it? As I'm going to do now. No, I'm kidding. What legendary romantic comedy allegedly caused a decline in undershirt sales after Clark Gable revealed his bare chest in it? Allegedly, because it's kind of an urban legend. Question number seven. Like I said, it's getting harder. Question number seven. In what two Canadian cities was The Shape of Water filmed? In what two Canadian cities was The Shape of Water filmed? And again, these are all movies that are released in the novel, which is why we're doing it. Question number eight. What Stanley Kubrick movie did New Yorker critic Pauline Kael call a masterpiece in every insignificant detail? What Stanley Kubrick movie did New Yorker critic Pauline Kael call a masterpiece in every insignificant detail? Two more to go. These are the two hardest ones, or so I assumed when I came up with them. Question number nine. What two silent movies shared the first Best Picture Oscar in 1928? I'm pretty sure Heather knows this one. What two silent movies shared the first Best Picture Oscar in 1928? All right. And one question left. What 1959 film by Francois Truffaut helped to usher in the French New Wave? Again, question number 10. What 1959 film by Francois Truffaut helped to usher in the French New Wave? You can see the poster on my wall. Who said that? That was my attempt at a hint. Not that it helped. I'm no. Okay, anybody need the questions? Okay, Charlene's already put her answers in. I guess that means she's broken the thing. So you can go ahead and put your answers in now.
I wasn't the first one.
I don't know his name is a great answer. Does anybody need a question repeated? No? Okay, good. You're all good listeners.
Oh, what was the one with you mentioned about the New Yorker?
Okay, that was question 8. What Stanley Kubrick movie did New Yorker critic Pauline Kael call a masterpiece in every insignificant detail? Because she hated Stanley Kubrick. Okay, I see two responses so far. And I believe the way Lisa's going to work it is she's going to, whoever gets the most right gets a free book. Unless you already have a book. All right. Clockwood Orange. That sounds even dirtier than the original, actually. List Star Wars. I hope I get time to read all the chat back at the end. See how you're talking about how much you hate my beard. All right, is that everybody? Can we move on, or are we still waiting for people with answers?
What number was the one that had Humphrey Bogart? Was number 5?
I believe that was 4. Let me go back. Yes, question number 4. In what classic detective film does Humphrey Bogart say to Peter Lorre, "When you're slapped, you'll take it and like it"? Tim is answering even though he already has a book. Maybe he wants a second one. It's a plot, man. It's a plot.
It's just as well I don't know all the answers. I'm at disadvantage driving, being unable to type.
That's not an excuse. You should be able to drive, think of movies anytime, Finn. I want to point out Finn is a taxi driver in Scotland, and he's actually zooming from Scotland in his cab. So so we have 2 driving people. Special K and Finn Hall are zooming in while they're driving. So I'm not going to give any opinion on the safety of that, but I think it's pointed out. It's a trivia thing for the 2 driving people. Okay. Are we ready to move on, or do we have any more? Do we have any other answers we're waiting for? Because there's a creature from the bottom of the sea who's trying to contact us. You know.
I think we can move on, Jeff. I'll go through the responses now, and we'll announce it at the end.
Okay, so if you have your answers, feel free to put them in. Keep putting them in when you're ready. But right now, there's a creature from the bottom of the sea who's trying to get in touch with us through his human minion, his pathetic, worthless human minion. The creature from the bottom of the sea, the Kraken, is obsessed with songs about our movies and TV and stuff like that. And he brainwashes his human minion in Toronto into performing in these songs. And he's here tonight to perform 2 of these songs. Are you ready, Kraken's minion?
I am ready.
All right, give it a go.
All right. So like Jeff said, I got 2 songs. The first one is thematically related to the novel. So he asked me to perform that. And the second one contains a video, which if my technology works right, the video should appear up here. And it will have Jeff in it. And I don't remember whether he plays the evil clown or the hot vampire. So you'll have to watch and figure that out for yourself. So this first one is called I Read It on the Internet. Open up your eyes and you'll see the truth. It's all right there, you don't need any proof. It's written by experts, you know it's right. This guy's even got his own website. How much more legit do you think it can get? They don't anybody post to the net, they won't believe what's behind the scenes. JFK abducts aliens to test vaccines. And the 5G rays that Stonehenge emits magnetize Moscovium inside the pyramids. There's a chip in my brain made of titanium. I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens. I know it's true cause I read it on the internet. UFO landed in the White House kitchenette. Bigfoot got out and then he stole a clarinet. He took a coronet and then performed a minuet. I know it's true cause I read it on the internet. But you wrote it up a bet. It's a recipe for an awesome vinaigrette. I know it's true cause I read it on the internet. 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 Planet X is ruled by beings of purple copper, and the gnomes of Zurich own the black helicopters. The lost cosmonauts run the wind turbines, but it's the grassy knoll that is the real mastermind. The knoll developed chemtrails from a viral culture, then it married Elvis and they started Amca Ultra. They brought the Easter Island heads back to life in their Antarctic base where they fluoridate the ice. They saved Hitler's brain and they put it in a shark. It lives on the moon on the side that's dark, with the Tamamshud man who's been training hard for battle to melt steel beams and to mutilate cattle. I know it's true cause I read it on the internet. T.B. Cooper was a radiated marmoset. He and Jack the Ripper wrote a little novelette, a hit and remake of Romeo and Juliet. I know it's true cause I read it on the internet. Aliens produced a killer video cassette. It makes a tentacle come out of your TV set. I know it's true cause I read it on the internet. 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 And the grassy knoll built the pyramids and other things, and used GMO tech to grow shark wings, and put the growth formula in weather balloons to float up to the Hitler shark living on the moon. It sits up there plotting its revenge all day, and the lizards in the government made it okay to experiment injecting sheep with DNA from people. Now the Hitler shark has an army made of sheeple. They fly to the East Pole dressed as giraffes, to the entrance to the hollow earth to take photographs of the secret double mini earth floating inside, where the Greys and Illuminati and the Antichrist make tiny radios out of the Roswell debris to put into the fillings that we all have in our teeth. And if we try to pull them out, our craniums will melt, and we'd be thought control, so we'll believe in Bielefeld. I know it's true cause I read it on the internet. A UFO landed in the White House kitchenette. Bigfoot got out and then he stole a clarinet. He took a coronet and then performed a minuet. I know it's true cause I read it on the internet. Da Vinci hid a secret code in the alphabet. It's a recipe for an awesome vinaigrette. I know it's true cause I read it on the internet. I know it's true cause I read it on the internet. T.B. Cooper was a radiated marmoset. He and Jack the Ripper wrote a little novelette, a kid and remake of Romeo and Juliet. I know it's true cause I read it on the internet. Aliens produced a killer video cassette. It makes a tentacle come out of your TV set. I know it's true cause I read it on the internet. 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 Something seems familiar when I look at you. I've got a funny feeling of deja vu. You look at me like I'm going out of my mind when I say that we'll explode for the 42nd time. And I feel like this day will never end. I live, I die, I live again. Cause and effect and cause. Maybe a wizard changed time's laws. Maybe a black hole caused a gravitational distortion. Every time I try to fix it, I make it worse. Maybe that severed mummy hand is cursed. All hands abandoned ship, all hands abandoned. I'm stuck in a time, I'm stuck in a time, I'm stuck in a time, I'm stuck in a time episode. Something's wrong with the temporal flow. I think there's a polarized tachyon overload. Same events re-unfold, and nobody else seems to know. I'm stuck in a time loop episode. Maybe an experiment twisted the chronology. Maybe we flew through a temporal anomaly. Maybe there's some chronographic sequential residuum. Maybe there's a tear in the space-time continuum. Maybe I can find a way to fix it and free us. Or maybe the writers have run out of ideas. It keeps on happening and then we go kaboom. I must convince the others that we're headed to our doom. But I can't even convince my closest friends. It's about to start again this time, let's do it right. Put your hands on your hips, pull your knees in tight. Let's do the time loop again. I'm stuck in a time, 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 I'm stuck in a time loop episode. Something's wrong with the temporal flow. I think there's a polarized tachyonic overload. The same events re-unfold, and nobody else seems to know. I'm stuck in a time loop episode. I could be trapped forever and never ever be saved, but at least we're trapped together. At least I got you, babe. Babe, I got you, babe. I'm stuck in a time, 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 I'm stuck in a time loop episode. Something's wrong with the temporal flow. I think there's a polarized tachyonic overload. The same events re-unfold, and nobody else seems to know. I'm stuck in a time loop episode. I'm stuck in a time, 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 I'm stuck in a time.
All right, give a big hand, unmute, and give a big hand for Kraken not stirred. And yes, Tim got the guess right. I was definitely the hot vampire at the beginning. Unfortunately, Tim already has a copy of my novel, so he does not win a free one because we weren't giving away the free one anyway. So fuck you. Anyway, yes. That was Kraken Not Stirred. Please look him up. Mike, I encourage you to share your info in the chat. Blah, 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 blah. Now, I have one question. We have royalty. We have royalty coming up pretty soon in this. But before we get to royalty, because royalty can wait, you know, because you know how good royalty is at waiting and stuff and being patient and stuff. But Ivy had actually, Kate had a question for me. Apparently, I wrote a piece about Zoom's potential to take lit to the next level. And I'm thinking it might be a Zoom mobile, but I'm not sure. And Ivy apparently knows what piece I wrote. So Ivy says she can't find it.
No,
it might be, I had a poem called Zoomobile that I published in the Australian anthology Globalization, but I'm not sure if that's the one you're referring to.
It's the article we covered on the interview at that channel where you talked
the
about,
article.
Yeah, the one that you wrote.
Okay, so I thought
created a more global audience for writers alike.
Okay, I thought you meant like a poem or something, but yes, absolutely. I wrote this article a year and a half ago for Digital Journal about, it's called Meet the Zoom Poets, and it's about people like Cathy, Carson, and Special K, and Clive Oseman coming up, and other people who have connected over Zoom over the pandemic to make connections. So if I can take a second to look that article up, I will post it in the chat so you can all read it. We have one more guest performer coming up, and it's royalty. Shh, I didn't promote this, but we have the Queen. The Queen is here. The Queen came for my novel launch. Is the Queen ready?
Yes, one is ready.
All right, it's time for the Queen.
Hello. Now, you obviously recognize me as the Queen of England, especially as Geoffrey so very conveniently pointed out. I'd like to thank Jeff for inviting me along tonight. My transcript actually says I'd like to think Jeff, but I guess that's appropriate for tonight, actually. So think Jeff, yay. But fucking typists say. I'm going to go all P&O and sack a lot of them. One likes coming to Canada. It's quite the ego trip, seeing oneself on banknotes so far away from home. Of course, the idea for tonight is to promote Jeff's book, Hate Story. I guess it's about Meghan. I got one of my servants to read it, and he said it was very good. So if Jeff pays me enough money, he can carry the warrant by appointment to a royal lackey, reader of all things Her Majesty can't be asked reading, who says fuck Paul Shoreditch. $5 grand and it's yours, Jeff, $5 grand. Times are hard right now, even for me. Andrew's settlement for something he didn't do with someone he's never met is absolutely ruinous. No admission of guilt in that £12 million, of course not, no. And if you look closely, this is not my old crime. See? It's a cheap replica bought off of Amazon. So if you want to buy one similar, you can do it when you buy Jeff's book. I had to sell the real thing, but I'll let you touch this one for $5. Next thing for sale will be Philip's Land Rover. He has no use for it anymore, God rest his soul. Poor Philip. He had a good innings. He wasn't into cricket, so it's ironic that he was clean bowled on 99, but it was also very fitting, because his middle stump hadn't been upright since Margaret Thatcher used to come visiting. I did consider selling one of Andrew's kidneys to raise some money, but his body parts being inside other people is what got us into this mess in the first place. So now, when I have no one to wave at, I earn money by going to spoken word events if Clive Oseman can't be asked to get out of bed. Apparently, he gets more bookings if people think I may turn up, and he pays me a percentage. I don't normally read my own poetry. Fuck me, no. You won't catch me spitting bars. Well, not usually anyway, but this is a special occasion, right? So I've borrowed one of Oseman's ideas. Apparently, on that Facebook, I'm Brenda Smith on there, by the way, but don't tell anyone. That's your bonus for being here tonight. You get to buy Jeff's book and you can send me a friend request. But anyway, on that Facebook, people answer questions from strangers searching for their passwords and the answers to their security questions. I know, right? Or IKR, as the young people say, yes. Oseman wrote what he laughingly calls a poem about it. And I'm having a go at the same thing. This is an interview with Her Majesty, myself, on Facebook. I hope to get the Facebook voice right. It's a bit common. This is not as long as Oseman's version. Fuck no. One has a time limit, and the other stuff was more important. So I wouldn't want to waste time doing poetry now, would I? Oh, no. If you want the full version, I'll write it for you if you donate $10,000 to the Help Andrew GoFundMe page. If I have to pay it myself, your taxes will go up. So you do realise that, don't you? So you know it makes sense. Anyway, the interview. I hope you like it. If you don't, tough shit. Anyway, I've always wanted to say that. Right, okay. Isn't Zoom wonderful? Yes, okay, so.
So, Your Majesty, what was the name of your first pet?
Because that's how Facebook talks, you know. I don't know if I'll be able to do that voice again because I did that by accident. It was meant to be somebody else, but never mind. So,
what was the name of your first pet?
Do I have to answer that?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not sure I should admit to this really, but it was Goebbels. It was a gift from Uncle Edward. I didn't know. I thought it was an area in Glasgow. The Goebbels. I didn't know, really. I'm so sorry.
What was your first car?
It was expensive and better than yours. That's what it was, for sure. Next question.
What is the first thing you remember being told by your father?
Yeah, I remember this clearly. He got out a map of the world, shaded 2/3 of it red, white and blue, and said, "One day, Elizabeth, all this will be yours." Lying bastard he was. By the time he snuffed it, he'd lost large chunks of it. Mater lost a fortune on gambling and gin. He lost half of Asia, stupid man.
As a child, what did you want to be when you grew up?
The Queen, obviously, dumbass. Fuck me, did you go to one of those comprehensive schools or something?
It's Saturday night and you're 16 years old. What are you doing?
It's 1942. I'm wondering if Uncle Edward is on our side or theirs. Oh yes, and I'm having adolescent fantasies about Charlie Chaplin. Nice bit of rough. Oh yes. What was your mother's maiden name? Don't you even know how to use Google? Are you completely stupid? I am rather famous, you know. Look it up.
Name the most embarrassing thing ever to happen in your life.
Andrew. Definitely Andrew. A member of my family having sex with someone to whom he isn't even distantly related. I'll never forgive him. Anyway, talking of Andrew, I forgot to remove the handcuffs before I came here, so he won't have eaten anything. I'd better go. He is my son after all. Don't forget, buy Jeff's book. It's by appointment to a royal lackey, reader of all things Her Majesty can't be bothered reading, who says, fuck Paul, try again, who says, fuck Paul Shoreditch for £5. Okay, thank you very much. Goodbye.
Please unmute and give a hand for the Queen. What you should really be doing is waving like this for the Queen. There's something that has always confused me, though. Have you ever noticed that when the Queen appears, Clive Oseman just disappears? I wonder if
we don't get on. We don't get on.
We don't get on.
No,
Okay,
he's so
yeah.
common. He's a horrible man.
Really? Okay, yeah. Because I had another idea, but it's just too ridiculous. It's too crazy. Okay, maybe the queen is no, it's too ridiculous. It's just too silly. All right, the queen, yay. We had royalty. We had royalty at my book launch. Let's see what happens next. Okay, so now is the time when I announce the quiz winner, according to the running list, but I don't know. I don't know who that is. I guess Lisa by now. Lisa and Beck know who that is by now. So Lisa and or Beck, please announce the quiz winner.
With a quite decent score of 6, the winner is Janelle Coe.
Janelle Coe gets a free book. Give a big hand to Janelle Coe, the quiz winner.
The rest of you were rubbish.
Yes, you were. We're going to talk about your shortcomings for years. Janelle, do you want to give a speech or something? While
I was just going to ask if I could give a speech, Jeff. Well, Lisa, thank you very much for counting up. And you know what? For me, 6 on a movie trivia is pretty good. So I'm pretty proud of myself. And I just want to say, Jeff, congratulations on your book. I met Jeff during the pandemic on a Zoom writer's workshop, and I was like amazed at just like how funny he is and just kind of his weird, like, brilliant style. And I'm glad that, you know, what is this, less than 2 years later, you've got a book out, and I'm super stoked to read it. And, you know, I'll promote that on every social media, you know, following that I'm on, which, as you know, I'm on all of them. So thanks again, and congratulations.
Thank you so much, Janelle. And thank you for giving that speech. So it gave me a chance to look up my Zoom Poets article and post it in the chat. That's the real reason I asked you for the speech. So my Zoom Poets chat that Ivy and Kate referenced is now in the chat. So look that up and find out how, you know, people like Cathy and Special K and the Queen, but not Clive Oseman, you know, all got together to meet each other. So one more hand for Janelle Coe for knowing a little bit about movies. What's next? And Janelle, please contact Dragonfly Publishing by email or in the chat to, I guess, give you your mailing address for the free book. And thank you so much all for coming. It's just great that I got to share this book launch with both local people and family members and people all around the world. It's just such a rare thing that could only be done right now. If you like the book, please post reviews of it online on goodreads.com or Amazon or whatever. If you don't like the book, please buy 10 copies for your enemies. Okay? This is a great way to piss off your enemies, is to buy more books. I encourage you to do that. If you like the book, buy 10 copies for your friends. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Lisa, Dragonfly Publishing, for giving a chance to my weird little book. And thank you, Skylar, for passing it on. Thank you, Heather, for being the official launcher. And thank you all for coming and sharing this with me. I will post the purchase links in the chat again as soon as I get a moment. And apparently it's not on the current running list, but Lisa wanted me to read the special extra in the book, the Simpatica Books Inc. So after Lisa gives her thanks, I could do that if that's still cool.
Definitely.
All right, go ahead, Lisa.
Okay, well, just thank you everyone for turning up today, this morning, this evening, whatever the time zone is in your part of the world. It's been an absolutely amazing event, and I think it justifies the absolutely amazing book that Jeff has written. So just a final congrats, Jeff. Let's hope this book flies as it's meant to. And a big thanks to you all for being part of this amazing event on Zoom. It's the first time I've ever done one of these events. I've been on Zoom loads of times, but it's the first time I've ever really been a party to a party on Zoom. So it's been great. Thank you all for coming.
Okay. So
Stellar.
Thank you so much. So I'm gonna finish the show and I've just reposted the purchase links in the chat if you don't have the book yet or you hadn't ordered the book yet. Elmine is asking when I will bring out the Audible version. Well, when somebody pays me to do an Audible version, or somebody asks me to do one. That hasn't happened yet, but we'll see what happens. So if you have a copy of the book already, you will notice at the end there's like a DVD extra kind of thing. It's a spoken word piece that some of you have already heard me do over Zoom. And Lisa liked it enough that she wanted me to include it in the book. So I'm going to and include it in the launch. So stick around because I'm going to read Simpatica Books, Inc. And this was actually kind of inspired by presses that rejected the book. Some of the rejection letters I got. This was inspired by that. So Simpatica Books, Inc. Dear Mr. Orwell, thank you very much for your interest in Simpatica Books, Inc. We have reviewed your submitted manuscript. Pelayo just wants the edit waiting room, 2 hours late, but Pelayo wants in the waiting room. We have reviewed your submitted manuscript, The Animal Farm, and we have decided, regrettably, that it is not the right fit for our lineup. Although your novella is well written and has a few interesting ideas, we feel that it also has some serious issues and needs a lot of work. Our main problem with your manuscript is the characters, specifically that none of them is very likable. There isn't a single one a reader can root for. We feel strongly that main characters in fiction must always be likable and never have any flaws or do anything the reader might disagree with. Most of the pigs in Animals Farm are so nasty and power obsessed, and they do many cruel things to the other animals. They kill them, they lie to them and manipulate them. They betray them. How is a person supposed to relate to that kind of behavior? Nobody's like that in real life, especially not in Russia. And even the animals who are victims of the abuse, you don't feel much for them either, Mr. Orwells. They don't fight back or try to win the day. They just take all the oppression passively. That's so depressing. A reader needs to cheer somebody on to be a hero, but your book doesn't deliver that. Our other big issue with your manuscript is the story itself, that it's just so unbelievable and unrealistic. A group of farm animals drive the owner away and take over the farm? Don't you find that a little far-fetched, Mr. Wells? A little hard to imagine? Animals can get a little rambunctious now and then, but they could never take over a whole farm like that. And even if they did, it's hard to believe they would run the farm so poorly. There's so much corruption among the pigs that the whole thing turns into a virtual dictatorship. I don't think that could happen even with human beings, let alone with animals. You're not giving the reader much credit. Our team at Simpatica Books, Inc. is confused about your goals for animal farms. It's too violent and intense for a children's book, and it's too dark and pessimistic for a fantasy. We can't imagine what kind of demographic you're aiming for, or why anyone would want to spend their free time with these characters. But I have some good news. Our focus group of beta readers has come up with some constructive suggestions that may help you improve your book. First, instead of all those mean pigs, why not have one really nice pig? And give the nice pig a friend or two. I think it's sad that you never gave the animals any good friendships, but I bet the reader would love to see one. Maybe the nice pig has a cute little spider friend who weaves nice messages about the pig in her web, and that sends the pig on some fun adventures. Don't you think that would make a good kid's book? I think so. And maybe the nice pig learns how to herd sheep, and he goes on to win a sheep herding competition. That would send an uplifting message about believing in yourself. Another issue, our beta readers don't like the catchphrase you gave to Boxer the horse. I will work harder. Nobody's ever going to quote that. We came up with a better catchphrase. A horse is a horse, of course, of course. You see? Now that's catchy and fun. That's what a reader wants. Now the point I'm trying to make, after the years pass and we're all rotting in the ground, the generations after us will remember only one thing about our literature. It's marketability. Please keep working hard at your writing and maybe someday you'll get a lot better at it and write something worth publishing, Mr. Orson. Something with a fun plot and a likable hero. Like that nice Nancy Drew. Now she's a plucky little one. Why don't you give us a character like that? That would be swell. Sincerely, Simpatica Books, Inc. Books for people who don't want a challenge. So that was Simpatica Books, Inc. Please unmute and give it up for myself for speaking for fun. I'm snapping for me. So thank you so much for coming. Thank you, Lisa, for taking a chance on this book. Thank you, Skylar, for passing it on. Thank you, Heather and Skylar and other people who read the book in advance and thought it didn't suck. If you like the book, go on Goodreads and other sites and say, this book does not suck, you should read it. Please keep, I want to read all the chat. I haven't had a chance to read all the chat, so I hope I can stay on for a bit and read all the chat. Yeah, anything else?
No, we're good.
We're good. All right. So if you want to chat for a bit.
Does Cathy have any links for her work? Jeff?
Sorry, what?
No,
Does Cathy have any links for her work?
unfortunately not, Ivy. If you just pop me into Google or YouTube, though, you'll get lots of stuff just comes up automatically, so I'm easy enough to find out there. Thanks so much. Thank you.
Awesome.
You can very likely find her on YouTube and stuff like, you know, surely she's at least part of other people's videos, and not just her own. And again, Cathy Carson in Birmingham, England, has a one-person show coming up in April. So if you're anywhere near Birmingham, please go to it and support Cathy, support Danielle.
Thank you.
Unmute and chat and stuff. And yeah.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Cathy, for being part of this.
I would not have missed it. It was epic, absolutely amazing. Huge congratulations. Brilliant night. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I see Palayo made it 2 hours late. Hi, Palayo.
Hey, Jeff. I was just posting to the chat. I was on Highway 7 between Lindsay and Ottawa, so I just got here. Congratulations, man. I'm really looking forward to reading this.
Thanks, Palayo. Thanks, Palayo. Palayo is a friend of mine, used to live in Toronto. He's now in Ottawa, and he's a longtime friend, so I'm really glad he could make it. And again, one more hand for the Australian people. It's 5:27 in the morning in Western Australia.
Yeah, and I've got to go now, Jeff, but thank you for having me. I am literally, falling asleep now. So I'm going to go grab a few hours before I have to do some work.
Thanks, Skylar. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Skylar. Take care.
Lovely to see you all. Thanks for having me.
I look forward to our Dragonfly launch, whatever it is going to be.
Yeah.
Apparently Skylar is publishing her next book with Dragonfly sometime in April or something. So there's going to be an Australia-friendly launch, like at early in the morning for me, but at a reasonable time for you guys. So Australian people, please keep that in mind.
Well, all three of us sitting here. I'm purposely setting it so that it's at like your 3 in the morning, Jeff.
Yeah.
Anything to revenge, that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. I am the queen of revenge.
Skylar, for you, I will get up at
That's
3
a good
o'clock in the
title.
morning.
The Queen of Revenge is a good title?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anyone who knows me knows that is just so far from the truth. It's not funny. But anywho, Special K, I miss you, girl. I miss you so much. Oh my God, I just miss you. I have no words. I'm too tired. Okay, guys, lovely to be here. Take care, be safe, and Jeff, keep writing, please keep writing.
Thank you, Skylar. Thank you, Skylar.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
The links to buy my book are again in the chat again. Please keep me on the Zoom long enough that I can read all the stuff, all the chat, because.
Hey, Jeff, you know you can save the chat too.
How do I do that?
All right, if you go in the chat, you're on a computer, right?
I'm on a computer.
All right, go in the chat It should be on the bottom right hand. There's like 3 little dots.
Yeah, I just clicked on those. I get participants can chat with no one, host and co-host, everyone.
Hit file.
Oh, save chat. Oh, I just saw that. Save chat. Okay, click that. Nothing happened.
Don't delete the chat.
Under file, you can also like save it to your computer, I think.
Yeah,
I got chat.
When you click.
I've got chat saved with a check mark. I don't know what that means, but cool.
Okay,
Maybe
so when
under
you now
file, select
when
Google
you,
Drive.
It's saved. So when you go in your computer now, it's under your downloads. It'll be in your download folder.
Let me just check that right now.
Yeah. Or look under file, Jeff, because you can choose the location.
Okay, I got chat saved and a question mark in the chat, but my downloads is empty. So,
Yeah, so if you go to file beside the 3 dots, you can choose your computer, Dropbox, Google Drive, Microsoft OneDrive as options.
It just said chat was saved, but it didn't say where it was saved. Show in folder. Oh, okay. So it's in a Zoom folder. Dragonfly Publishing Zoom meeting save chat. Okay, so I can read all the nasty things you said about me. How you talked about how much you hate my baldness, stuff like that.
We love your shiny baldness. What are you talking about?
It's shiny. It's shiny because of the lighting. See, when I put the lamp like this, you see now I'm a little darker now, but this part's still shiny. But when I pull it,
We love your shiny head and your beard and your pink blanket that's always on the sofa behind you. We love
There's
all
the
that.
blanket. Yeah, there's everybody
The
loves
famous
the
pink blanket.
the famous pink blanket.
I don't know, man. I think that beard makes you look like the evil Jeff from the parallel universe.
Could be like evil Spock and I are like buddies or something.
There was a transporter accident when Will Riker and Picard got kind of melded into one person.
That's right. I remember that. Yeah. So this is I should point out this is not COVID hair. This is shingles hair, because my normal look is totally shaven. But I had shingles last August, and I grew the hair and the beard to cover the scars. You probably can't see, but you see where it looks like faded acne down here? That's from the shingles. So that's
Gosh, Jeff, that's a really painful thing. Gosh.
It
That's
was
very-
for a couple.
Yeah.
It was really painful for a couple of days, and then I took painkillers and medication, and it wasn't so bad. But I'm afraid it might still be scarred a little bit. That's why I'm keeping the hair for now.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Tim.
My girlfriend Dilva just got home, and we need to worry about doing supper now, so I'm going to sign out. But thank you so much for having me as part of this. It was a lot of fun, and you really have a great book. It really is.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tim. I hope people are not too, traumatized by your second piece. I hope they got the right medical attention.
Well, if somebody wants to cancel me, they've got all the ammunition they need. So,
But we asked to be triggered though.
It's not cancellation, it's accountability. You're being accountability.
Mhm.
So it was a lot for 4 a.m. in the morning. It's a lot for 4 a.m. in the morning.
Right. Well, thank you all very much for the feedback, and all of you take care.
Bye, Tim.
Take care, Tim.
Bye.
Bye, Tim.
Bye.
Heather and Neil say bye. Too late, he's gone.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually go as well. I've been driving all day, and I'm almost to my mom's house, so I'm gonna get off here and pay attention to the road.
All right, thank you so much for being part of this Special K.
Take care, Special K. Good
Say
to
hi to
see
your
you.
mom.
Thank you. Congratulations to you, Jeff, again, and to you, Cathy. And
Take care,
y'all have a good one.
Thank you so much. So if you were late coming to this, or you want to watch it again, this has been recorded and live streamed on Facebook, so you can watch it. You can hear my reading of chapter 1. You can hear all the guest performers. So it's not live, but it's still better than nothing. So I'll see what I can do about posting that on Facebook. I'm looking at you, Palaio.
Hey, Jeff.
Congrats.
Hey, Jeff, I'm going to take off as well then, because I need to go find something to eat. And
Thank you so much, Kraken.
thanks so much for having me, and congratulations on the book. That is super awesome, and I look forward to reading it.
Thank you so much, Mike. I love that you practiced that song for 2 months and you still fucked up the lyrics.
There's so many lyrics. I gotta stop doing that to myself. Well, thank you. I'm glad you liked it.
So I was gonna
put
put exclamation mark fail, but I realized that doesn't work on Zoom.
That doesn't work there. No, only in my Twitch. But if for people who don't know me, if you like that, I'm on Spotify and YouTube and all that stuff. So, have at.
Mike does a Twitch. So EST, it's Wednesdays, typically 1:00 p.m. So while you're working from home, you can watch it. I go back to the office on Monday, so I can't attend to the Wednesday one anymore. But it's typically Wednesday, 1:00 EST, and Friday and/or Saturday, 7 p.m. or something. So if you want to catch
7 to 10, it'll be Friday one week, Saturday the next. This coming week, it's going to be Saturday.
So if you want more of Kraken Not Stirred, check out Twitch at those times, or just go to his website, buy his CDs and stuff, or whatever, and say, "Hi, Kraken, you don't suck. I like you."
No, definitely tell me I suck. It makes the Kraken itself very happy.
Oh, good. Okay, so this is how we please sea creatures.
That's right.
Okay. Have a good night, Mike. Thanks a lot.
Right. Thanks. Congrats again. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye. I'm gonna head out to Jeff, but this was an incredible launch, and congrats, an amazing whole lineup was amazing.
Thanks so much for coming, Ivy. I look forward to seeing the next issue, and I look forward to the thing in June. So
yeah, these are the magazines for anyone.
Wow.
Yeah, the fourth one issue's on the top. This is the second one, which is almost, well, there's a handful left, and the third one. The first one is sold out. But yeah, when we relaunch, we're relaunching the subscription series for 5 and 6, and Jeff's going to be in the 5th one. So go
That's
to
right.
decentmagazine.com, and Jeff can always fill you in for updates on that as well.
Cool. Thanks, Ivy.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. And don't forget to catch everyone at AuthorFest. Heather Babcock will be there with Banana Publications. Jeff's going to be there. And hopefully others here. Tickets are going to go live on Tuesday. Again, stay tuned to the artistemagazine.com website. Canlit AuthorFest 2022 on Facebook, and Heather Babcock and Jeff have all the info too, if anyone forgets that. Okay, cool.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys.
Night, Ivy. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you.
So after I told Mike you suck, or he said he sucks, Marissa posted in the chat, depends on what you suck on. So
Still waiting for your erotic pieces, Jeff.
all right, it'll be all about you. I'm sure that's what you want. I hope to see you in New York in September, assuming COVID doesn't get stupid.
I hope so. Let's yeah.
I hope to see you in Nashville in May, again, assuming COVID doesn't get stupid.
Those plane tickets right now are outrageous. If I can get to stop in Nashville for a few days to see you, I will before I go to North Carolina. But prices they doubled in the last 2 weeks. So yeah.
I want to point out Marissa is based in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and she has an open mic tonight at 8 o'clock. The Word is Right, featuring Terry Rose Jurtson, and I forget the second feature. And there's an open mic. So if you want to do an open mic, tonight on Zoom, that's at 8 o'clock EST.
Thanks, Jeff. I love you.
Look her up on Facebook. No kitty ears? You didn't have no kitty ears today.
I saved those for you in our special time.
Oh, our special
time. Just kidding. I've been doing workshops all day, so I'll put kitty ears. Come tonight, and I'll wear my kitty ears.
Special time means, we meet each other at midnight and we talk really, really, really dirty. So dirty that you just couldn't handle it in this Zoom.
Just think of it.
Just imagine what you can do with an egg beater and a kitten and make it dirty.
Don't shave that beard.
That's what we talk about.
Don't shave that beard, please.
The beard.
I won't be able to write if you do.
I look like the father from Family Ties. That's what I look like with a beard.
He was
Alex, stop being so conservative.
weird
Bastard.
way. You're much better looking than you. I'm not that old. Am I that old? Yeah.
I'm so ugly without the beard. That's what I heard.
Let's go. Anyways, congratulations, Jeff. I can't wait to get your book.
Thanks, Marissa.
Good to see Cathy, Carson, and Clive Oseman here. Oh my god. Anyways, love you all. See you all.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Marissa. Look
Jeff,
up
I'm
the
gonna
word
head
is
off
right.
too.
Thanks, Cathy.
Massive
So good to have you here.
Thank you. What a night. That was amazing. Thank you so much. Wow. That was like a real party. Thank you. I really
Thanks,
enjoyed
Cathy.
it, and huge congratulations. I wish you all the best, man. You take
I
care.
hope you like the
everyone.
book. Hope you like the book.
I do. I'm halfway through. I'm not finished, so no spoilers.
Okay, so
So
you got
maybe
past
there-
chapter 5 without fainting. Okay, good.
Yes. Take care. All the best. Bye bye, everyone.
Thanks, Cathy. Bye.
Bye, Cathy.
Bye, love. Bye bye.
Right, I'm going to shoot off as well. It's been a great night, Jeff. Really enjoyed that.
Thank you, Clive.
And I'm enjoying the book as well. I'm about halfway through it as well. So,
You still think you're the queen. Don't tell them. Don't tell them your secret identity.
Oh, yes, I'm so sorry. Yes. I'm wearing a Clive Oseman mask and a stupid ginger wig. That's- Yes.
Cheers.
Why would anyone wear a ginger wig? That's what I want to know.
The same reason people put stupid masks on like that. Hey, Clive.
Yes. Yes.
Hi, Boris.
Yeah.
right, I'll see you again soon.
Thanks, Clive.
Thanks,
Right.
Clive.
See you on the
Bye.
computer soon.
Dear Clive. Yeah, I'm going to go as well. Thanks, Jeff. It's been really good.
Thanks,
evening.
Scott. Good to
Thank
see
Take care. See
you.
you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
And then there were 6.
Yeah, it's double a Genesis album.
Too, Jeff.
Okay,
It
see
was
you,
great.
Charlene. Good to see you.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks, Damon. Thanks, Pelayo, for coming.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. Congratulations. Well done,
Thanks. I
everyone.
hope you're liking the book so far.
Yeah, so far, yeah.
Okay.
No, I haven't officially hit chapter 11 yet.
Okay. Well, you heard part of chapter 11 last night,
Yeah.
so
Yes.
you're a little spoiled. Little spoiled.
Little spoiled, so yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
All right.